How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and I know it's been a few weeks since I did a video, but there hasn't been really anything to talk about, and I just needed to refresh my mind. But we're back to making videos, and it's time for another Funko Pop collection video. Now, I've already done two of these, and I do this whenever I get a certain amount of Funko Pops, and I've gotten a lot since my last video, which was back in January. So we got some Funko Pops to share. And if you missed my other two videos, I'm putting the links down below in the description so you can check out and see the other Funko Pops I collected before these ones. And as I've mentioned before, I like to buy the Funko Pops of stuff that I enjoy, whether it's from my favorite movies, my favorite shows, my favorite video games, and particularly my favorite characters. Sometimes that can be multiple characters in a movie or a show, sometimes it can be only certain characters. And there's quite a few. And this one, there's going to be a lot of childhood or, still favorite characters, but a lot of them are from cartoons that I grew up with. But we're going to start off with a character from one of my favorite all time movies that I talk about many times on this channel, and that is Clerks, and that is Dante from Clerks. Dante from Clerks. This is from the Clerks 3 collection. And in the previous Funko Pop collection video, I showed the Randall one that I got after Christmas. So you can check that one out in the previous video. But yeah, this is Dante from Clerks. This is one of my favorite movie characters. Probably one of the most relatable movie characters out there. Just a guy that's trying to do the right thing at work, but he's getting all this. Well, the best way to put it is that Dante is dealing with a lot of crap at work. People are always putting him down. The customers are always being rude at the quick stop convenience store. And every time he thinks something good's going to happen to him, something bad just happens in general. Each Clerks movie, something happens with Dante. There's always some kind of confrontation with him and his best friend Randall. And this is from the same series that I got Randall in. And you can look at the figures right there. And I don't have Elias J and Silent Bob yet. Um, I'll probably try to get Jay and Silent Bob. Elias, maybe. But if I don't get him, it's not the end of the world. I would rather prioritize Dante, Randall, and then Jay and Silent Bob. Because I know they've had Jay and Silent Bob Funkos in the past. But this was the first time that I've seen Dante and Randall. And I remember I had gotten Randall at Midtown Comics. And a couple months ago, they finally had Dante at the comic book store in my mall, Newberry Comics. But yeah, Dante, one of my favorite characters in movies. Clerks is one of my all-time favorite movies, top 20 favorite movie of all time. And Clerks 2 is probably my favorite comedy sequel. And I know Clerks 3 gets a lot of flack for some of the decisions that Kevin Smith made, but I personally enjoy Clerks 3. It's not my favorite of the Views Universe movies or the Clerks movies, but I still enjoy it. And yeah, Dante from Clerks. And the next one, and I got this one on sale, and it still has a sticker on it. It's Shang-Chi from the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings series. And Shang-Chi was one of the biggest surprises of an MCU movie. I didn't know much about the character when I had seen um, the movie, but Shang-Chi turned out to be one of the best MCU solo movies. And it's definitely one of the best post Endgame Marvel movies. To me, it's almost up there with No Way Home and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I still prefer those two movies, but this is definitely my third favorite movie post Endgame. And it's almost in my top 10 favorite MCU movies. That's how great this movie is. It was a great, pleasant surprise. I think Simu Liu gave a great performance as Shang-Chi. And I really hope we get a sequel to it. I know they keep saying Shang-Chi 2 is going to happen. I don't know when. Hopefully in the next couple of years, because this is one of the few post-Endgame movies that were really great. And there's a lot of potential in this franchise. And these are the other characters. I don't know if I'm going to get in any of these characters. Um, I would definitely get the sister one, but yeah, overall, Shang-Chi, this was a pleasant surprise. I liked how the Mandarin was handled in this movie. I love the action in this movie. Shang-Chi is one of my favorite new characters in the MCU, and I hope we get to see more of this character and we get another movie. So there we go. And those are probably like the only two movie related characters that aren't or non animated characters, because the rest of these Funko Pops I got are based off of childhood cartoons. Although there is one big set that is connected to a childhood movie of mine. But before we get into that, we're going to start with the first of the cartoon Funkos that I got, and that is Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. I grew up on the Dexter's Laboratory cartoon. This was one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows. I always enjoyed Dexter and the hijinks that he got into. His sister Dee Dee messing around with his lab, his rival Mandark. He had like the monkey that had superpowers. You had the Justice Friends cartoons in between Dexter episodes. Definitely one of my favorite cartoons. I remember the TV movie. I enjoyed it. It was like the one where Dexter teamed up with other versions of himself. That was like event before multiverse became like a common thing. Then they brought the Dexter's cartoon back for a little bit and wasn't as good. I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't as good. But the original Dexter, those first few seasons were terrific. This is definitely one of the top 10 best Cartoon Network shows of all time. And this is part of the same series. If you saw my first Funko Pop video, I talked about my Courage Cowardly Dog one. I showed that. That was the first Funko I got. And it's in the same series as Courage. You can also get Dexter's sister Dee Dee, Johnny Bravo, and Cow and Chicken. I think if I'm going to get another one from this Cartoon Network series, it's probably going to be Johnny Bravo. Cow and Chicken wasn't my favorite Cartoon Network show. I didn't dislike it. I did enjoy it, but it didn't stand out like Dexter, Johnny Bravo, Courage Cowardly Dog, and Ed and Eddie. Which, by the way, I hope they do Ed and Eddie Funko Pops, because I'm gonna get all three Eds, and definitely Rolf. Rolf was one of my favorite characters. Um, I mean, Dee Dee. I haven't really seen Dee Dee, but I haven't really seen the rest of these. The only two that I've really seen, at least in the store that I buy Funko Pops in, the Newberry Comic Store, has been Courage and Dexter. Um, there's a bunch of Cartoon Network shows I would love to see Funko Pops of. I would definitely love to see regular show ones. I probably would buy the whole cast because regular show is one of my all-time favorite shows. Um, if there was another Dexter cartoon that should get a Funko Pop, it would probably be Mandark. I don't know. His laugh was always a bit annoying. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, Dexter, one of the best Cartoon Network shows of all time, and I saw this Funko Pop and I was like, I gotta get it because it's one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows. By the way, if you're wondering which one I prefer more, Dexter or Courage, probably Courage Cowardly Dog. I'm just more into scary horror stuff, even as a kid, but I still enjoy Dexter's Laboratory. So the next one comes from, actually, I am lying. There are two movie ones I'm going to show from one of my favorite movie franchises of all time, and that is Toy Story. I'm going to show them at the same time. It is Woody and Buzz. Toy Story, one of my favorite movies of all time. I've reviewed all the Toy Story movies on my channel. You can check those out if you haven't already. But yeah, Woody and Buzz, these were my favorite all-time characters. Some of my favorite Disney characters of all time. I still have my Woody and Buzz big action figures, but yeah, Woody and Buzz. I'm probably more of a Woody fan than a Buzz fan. I don't know. I feel like I've always connected more with Woody. I remember one time at Disney World, they gave this quiz of what Disney character you are. I think it was like 9 years ago when I went, and based on my answers, I got Woody. And I love Woody's loyalty. And yeah, he's not a perfect character. I mean, he was jealous of Buzz in the first one, but he's always the leader of the gang. He always makes sure no toy gets left behind. And then you got Buzz, who at first thinks he's a real space ranger, but then realizes he's a toy, and he becomes Woody's best friend. And they're both in the same series, but in the series you can also get Rex and Ham. I haven't seen them yet in stores. I don't know if I would get them yet, even though I like those characters. But again, there's always other Funko Pops I always want to prioritize. It's like I only buy at most two when I'm making a trip to the store because I don't want to go too crazy and buy every single one. But yeah, Woody and Buzz. And I'm going to Disney World. Well, I'm going on a Disney cruise in a few weeks. And I'm going to Magic Kingdom, so I'll be going on the Buzz Lightyear ride most likely. One of my favorite rides. But yeah, Woody. I've got Buzz first because I saw Buzz. When I bought Buzz, they didn't have Woody. They had Stinky Pete the Prospector instead. But when I went to the store yesterday, actually, I had found Woody. And I was like, I'm getting Woody before they sell out of Woody. But yeah, Woody, one of probably my favorite Disney character. I'm glad I found him. There's a snake in my boot. And I don't know why I was doing that. I know Toy Story 5 has been announced. I'll be honest, I like Toy Story 4. It's my least favorite Toy Story movie. But yeah, Toy Story 1's still my favorite, followed by Toy Story 3, which was an emotional roller coaster of a movie. And then Toy Story 2, which I think is a great sequel. But yeah, I'm curious what the storyline for Woody and Buzz are going to be in Toy Story 5. Will they reunite? Will they reunite with Andy? I guess we'll wait and see in a couple years. But yeah, here's Woody and Buzz from Toy Story. Okay, next duo is going to be Scooby-Doo and Shaggy Rogers. I love the Scooby-Doo cartoon. I grew up on it. I grew up on it along with Dexter and Courage. I grew up on Hanna-Barbera cartoons, the reruns on Cartoon Network. Scooby-Doo, my favorite. I've reviewed Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island on this channel, which is probably my favorite Scooby-Doo movie of all time. It's not even close. And yeah, it's my favorite cartoon duo. Scooby-Doo, who loves to eat Scooby snacks, who's scared of the bad guys in a mask. His best friend Shaggy is also scared of the bad guy in a mask. I remember also watching the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy show, where it was basically Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Scrappy's nephew, and Scooby's nephew Scrappy. Sorry, sometimes Daphne, but mostly it was Shaggy and Scooby. And I just love their friendship. How, despite how scared they are, they have each other's backs. And in this series, it's not the other members of the gang; it's some of the monsters that they face. The clown, um, Green Ghost, the Witch Doctor, and the Spooky Space Kook. I always forget what the Spooky Space Kook's name is. But yeah, those are some of the classic Scooby-Doo Where Are You monsters. And I love the Scooby-Doo Where Are You cartoon. I used to watch it all the time. As I said when I was talking about Courage before, I've always been into scary stuff. And I always loved watching Scooby-Doo, especially around September and October when Halloween's around the corner. And I grew up watching Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders and Cyber Chase, and then What's New Scooby-Doo. And I even enjoy the James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies a lot. They're not that great, but they're very entertaining. And compared to other movies based off movies based off of cartoons, live action movies based off cartoons, I think they hold up pretty well. And Matthew Lillard, probably one of the best casting choices as Shaggy ever. Great performance. But yeah, Scooby-Doo, one of my favorite cartoons. And this is actually celebrating 50 years, if you see on the back right there. It's celebrating 50 years of Scooby. Although Scooby turns 55 this year because it came out in 1969 in September. So in September, it's going to be 55 years old. And, there's been some Scooby cartoons that have been hit or miss, but most of the time I enjoy what I'm getting with Scooby. And now, the last Funko Pops. So we're going to start off with Optimus Prime from the original Transformers cartoon from the 1980s. This is the original Optimus Prime. And this is also the one that Peter Cullen voices, and that's my favorite voice actor for Optimus Prime. And this year's going to be celebrating 40 years of Transformers. Transformers came out in 1984. So yeah, 40 years of Transformers. I've talked about all the Transformer movies on this channel. You can check those out as well. But overall, I've always loved the Transformers cartoon. Optimus Prime has always been one of my favorite protagonists. His leadership, his love for humanity, one shall stand, one shall fall line. And as I said, this is from Generation 1. And on the back, you also got Bumblebee, Megatron, Jazz, and Soundwave. I'd probably buy all five of these because I like all five of these characters. And I like their G1 designs a lot. So, but I haven't seen the other ones yet. I think I've seen Megatron, but I think I found other Funkos I was more interested in. But yeah, and Peter Cullen still voices Optimus Prime. Not in the upcoming Transformer anime movie, Transformers 1, that's going to be Chris Hemsworth. And by the way, I like the trailer for it. Do I think it's going to be a fantastic movie? No, but I like what I've seen so far. And, as shown with the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem, I feel like you can do a lot with animation. And I think there's a possibility for a very good storyline with this movie. But yeah, I know they had the Rise of the Beast Optimus Prime, and while I did like the Rise of the Beast movie, I didn't love it. This is my favorite version of Optimus Prime, so I'm always gonna buy my favorite version. So here's Optimus Prime, and he's not the only Transformer one I got. This is probably the first big set. Well, I wouldn't say big set, but first more than one Funko Pop set that I got, and I got it yesterday as well at GameStop, and it was only like around $16. And that is the Rodimus Prime and Galvatron set right here, the 2-pack right here. This is the Funko 2023 Summer Convention Limited Edition. And yeah, we got Rodimus and we got Galvatron. This is from, I'm assuming, the Transformers 1986 movie where Rodimus and Galvatron first appeared, as well as, Transformers Season 3, when basically they became the main protagonists and main antagonists. So I've always loved the Transformers 1986 movie. It's not a great movie, but I've always enjoyed it, even though it was basically made to, sell new Transformer toys. But it's just a classic. It's got great iconic moments. I do like the new characters, even though I prefer the old characters. And Rodimus Prime, I know he gets a lot of flack because Hot Rod kind of got in the way and it led to Optimus's death. But I do like Rodimus. I like Galvatron, or at least the movie version of Galvatron. Leonard Nimoy's Galvatron voice was iconic. I don't know what happened when Frank Welker took over, which is crazy because Leonard Nimoy sounded more like Megatron than Frank Welker's Galvatron did. I don't get that, to be honest. He just sounded very high pitched. But yeah, I saw this set and I was like, I gotta buy it because it looks great. And I love the 1986 movie. And I don't know, probably my favorite part of the movie, besides the last Optimus versus Megatron fight, is when Rodimus Prime emerges and him and Galvatron are fighting, and you hear the touch from Stan Bush playing. And I usually don't buy big sets, although again, I wouldn't call this a big set. This is a 2-pack set. But if it looks cool and it's at a reasonable price, which this was at a reasonable price, at least in GameStop it was. I don't know how much it would have been if it was at Newberry Comics, because I noticed sometimes their Funkos can be a bit pricey. Same thing with Midtown Comics. This was around $16, so it was like $16 for 2 of these, when if you buy one at Newberry, it's around $14, $15. So yeah, I thought it was pretty much worth it. It was a pretty good deal. But yeah, this was the only one they had at GameStop, by the way, as well, because I've been thinking of buying it, and when I finally bought it, they didn't have it. But then when I came in yesterday, they had it. I was like, I gotta buy it, even though I already got Woody and Shaggy, because I also got Shaggy yesterday as well. But yeah, this is probably my first 2-pack set that I got, and I'm happy with it. So just to recap of the ones that I recently bought, we got Dante from the Clerk series, Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, Shang-Chi from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the MCU. Woody and Buzz Lightyear. Shaggy Rogers and Scooby-Doo. Optimus Prime. And, last but not least, Rodimus and Galvatron. So yeah, those are the Funkos that I have bought since my last Funko Pop video. And I'm always going to keep collecting because when I see something that I like, I want to buy it. And as I said before, a lot of this was mainly focused on my childhood cartoons and movies, my favorite characters from those cartoons and movies. But yeah, thank you for watching this. Like I said before, if you want to see the other Funko Pops I have, I put the links in the description for the first two Funko Pop collection videos. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share us with someone that collects Funko Pops and maybe has the same interests as me. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.